Hi, I am Mark from the Development Studies program of the Ateneo de Manila University. My presentation today is about a case study of a fully online academic service learning course, the aim of which is to show you the result of the investigation upon its effectivity in achieving desired student and partner community outcomes. This presentation is divided into four parts such as the background, methods, result and discussion, and the conclusion. With that, let us begin with the background of the study. In an effort to curtail or slow down the spread of COVID-19, many countries all over the world, specifically the HEIs or higher educational institutions, switched to online teaching and learning. This also meant that academic service learning, which is a form of experiential education that combines service with reflection in a structured learning environment, had to make use of extreme e-service learning. Wagner and fellow co-authors define extreme e-service learning as a type of service learning where course delivery and the services rendered by the students are conducted completely online. Thus, this study investigates the effectiveness of the use of extreme e-service learning to achieve desired student and also partner community outcomes in an online academic service learning course. This study hopes to further contribute in understanding the effectiveness of the use of extreme e-service learning in the academic service learning courses, especially within the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let us now begin with the research methods of this study. This quantitative study is limited within the case of an online academic service learning course focused on sustainable development, which I handled using the Canvas via the Ateneo Blue Cloud during the second and third quarter of school year 2020-2021 in the Ateneo de Manila University. By one quarter, I mean 7 to 8 weeks, with a total of 60 hours of learning time. There were 23 students who enrolled in the course during the second quarter, which covered the months of November 2020 until the first week of January 2021. On the other hand, 24 students enrolled during the third quarter, which covered the months of February until the first week of April 2021. During the second quarter, there were 2 non-government organizations partnered with 6 student teams, with an average of 3 to 4 members each. Students conducted research-based services, making extensive use of online interviews and desk-based research to help come up with a comprehensive development assessment report that can be used by the partner NGOs for their strategic planning to address the hurdles imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic in their local and nationwide project operations. In the course of the third quarter, there were 4 public senior high school institutions in Ilocos Sur who were partnered with 4 student teams consisting of 6 members each. The Ateneo students, using participatory approaches, developed supplementary learning materials to help the public school teachers enhance their general mathematics, pre-calculus, and statistics and probability lessons, and for their concerned public school students to better learn and appreciate the said lessons. The Ateneo students made use of Google Classroom, Google Meet, and LaTeX for math in piloting the use of learning supplementary materials they created to gather feedback from public school teachers and their respective students. When it comes to data gathering instruments, the Ateneo students were requested to answer an online pre- and post-test surveys of the Community Service Attitude Scale, which is a 46-item survey instrument developed by Sharella, McCarthy, and Tucker. This is to measure the students' attitudes about community service and predict student intentions to engage in community service before and after completing their course. Out of 23 students in the second quarter, 18 answered the pre- and post-test surveys. When it came to the third quarter, 21 out of 24 answered. Aside from this, the Ateneo students were also asked to answer the online instructional materials motivation survey, which is a 36-item survey instrument developed by Keller. This is to examine the overall motivation of the students in completing the course amidst the anxiety, stress, and uncertainties brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Out of the 23 students in the second quarter, 19 answered the survey. When it came to the third quarter, 22 out of 24 answered. Lastly, all 6 contact persons from the respective partner communities successfully answered the Partner Community Feedback Survey. This is a 19-item instrument I culled from those used by Towson University and the University of Central Arkansas in their service learning programs. The survey looked into the perceived gains or benefits by partner communities in spite of service learning projects being conducted and delivered completely online. In observance to ethical protocols, I generally make use of the generic term Ateneo students and partner communities to refer to the stakeholders of the academic service learning course in this study. With that, let us now proceed to the results and discussion of the study. Table 1 and 2 here shows the paired sample t-test scores to compare the community service attitudes of the second and third quarter students before and after completing the course. As you can see, the results show that third quarter students have reported to have a significant difference in their pre- and post-test scores when it comes to the activation and obligation dimensions. This means that the third quarter students reported to have a greater awareness and connectedness to the needs of society and a greater empathic sense and moral obligation to react and respond to this need after completing the course. No significant differences are found among the paired sample t-test scores of second quarter students, but generally, both groups have a positive orientation towards community service in all dimensions. This difference in scores among second quarter and third quarter students probably lie in the type of service learning projects they have rendered. Second quarter students conducted research-based projects, while third quarter students provided direct service by helping public school teachers create online learning supplementary materials on math subjects and were able to pilot test the use of such materials to the students of the said public school teachers. Studies have shown that direct forms of service learning engagements are better able to inculcate empathy and civic responsibility among students versus those who render only research-based services. Let us now see the results of the Instructional Materials Motivation Survey. Table 3 here shows the average value of total motivation of second quarter students is 3.81, which means they generally reported to have upper medium motivation in completing the course. For the third quarter students, their average value of total motivation is 4.35, which means they reported to generally have high motivation in completing the course. The results of the independent samples t-test reveal that there is a significant difference in the motivation levels of second and third quarter students. The total average of mean scores of students under the third quarter, when compared to the second, indicated significantly higher motivation results. Further, Cohen's effect size value suggests a large significant difference. These differences in motivation results probably reflect the differences in the external learning conditions and the teaching strategy I used during the second and third quarters, respectively. When it comes to the external learning conditions, students from the second quarter, since it was from November 2020 until the first week of January 2021, were beset with extreme weather events that significantly disrupted the schedule of online classes and online engagements with partner communities. The event has been very challenging and stressful for students, the faculty, and partner communities who were also negatively affected by the strong typhoons, further complicated by the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, students from the third quarter, since it was from February until the first week of April 2021, did not experience this added anxiety and stress due to more friendly weather throughout the duration of the course. However, the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic still remains, especially that there has been a spike of COVID-19 cases resulting to many deaths of people in the country during the third quarter period. In terms of teaching strategies, I made extensive use during third quarter the scheduling of team consultations to monitor the progress of students in their service learning projects and to give them timely feedback and advice. Unfortunately, I was not able to do this during the second quarter. Thus, I surmise that making use of scheduled and regular team consultations as a teaching and learning strategy has also further helped students from the third quarter to be more motivated in finishing their course when compared to the second quarter students. This is supported by the 2016 study of Akoglu and Lee, where they indicated that when small and permanent group discussions in online learning are used, students tend to perceive a higher level of social presence in terms of sociability, social space, and group cohesion. Thus, the authors recommend that educators systematically use small group discussions to promote social presence in online learning. Lastly, let me show you the results of the Partner Community Feedback Survey. Table 4 here shows that a total of 6 partner communities involved in the Service Learning Partnership for both the second and third quarter have either strongly agreed or agreed to 18 out of the 19 items in the feedback survey. This means they have found that the online service learning projects conducted by the Ateneo students to be useful and relevant in addressing their needs. Such projects are done in high quality, designed and implemented in a participatory manner, and has brought about social and other intangible benefits that can have long-lasting effects in their communities or organizations. However, their average mean scores also indicated that they disagree with the service learning projects bringing about significant economic benefits. This is understandable because none of the projects conducted by the students directly help them address their financial and other economic needs. But nonetheless, as McCullough in 2020 emphasized, although not all service learning projects may bring tangible economic benefits to partner communities, such projects often provide partner communities the needed access to knowledge, skills, and human resources that can significantly help them in their development efforts. To conclude, this case study reveals that even in the time of the cancellation of face-to-face classes and engagements with partner communities due to the COVID-19, service learning partnerships can take place through the use of extreme e-service learning. However, its effectiveness can be nuanced. This study reveals that students who are able to conduct direct service learning projects through online means versus those who conducted research-based services reported to have greater awareness and connectedness to the needs of society and moral obligation to respond to this need. Also, the motivation of students to complete an online course is dependent upon external environmental conditions such as typhoons that affect the stability of internet connections, aside from the challenge of having internet access. The other is the factor on the ability of the faculty to establish online social presence with their students to foster sociability, social space, and group cohesion. Lastly, research results also revealed that partner communities report to have socially gained from the service learning partnership even when done online, as long as service learning projects are done with high quality and in a participatory manner. However, it must be noted that since this is a case study, findings are not generalizable, but research results can be used to build upon the findings and experiences of other service learning researchers and practitioners. Therefore, I recommend that in future studies, an experimental approach with a large sample size can be used to establish the robustness of results regarding the effectiveness on the use of extreme e-service learning, especially within the Philippine context, which is beset with the problems of poor internet infrastructure and access. Thank you for watching and listening to my presentation. Let us continue to make use of service learning in our pedagogy. Until next time, bye for now.